So lots of people think that anti-blackness is only in white communities, but you would be surprised at the anti-blackness in non-black communities. Let's discuss. Hello there, my name is Janita Maaya. If you're new to my channel, please make sure you subscribe. Let's dive in. So the other day I saw this clip on X, and this Indian lady was actually going at it with another black lady in the parking lot, and she ended up calling the lady the N-word. And it got me thinking, why was she so frustrated about it? But it also got me thinking that this is not the only instance where non-black people decide they have the upper hand and decide to call black people the N-word. Let's watch it before I get to it.
And I want out where you you got me up. I'm sitting going into the park asking if you good. Mr.
With your fake ass eyelashes.
I don't give a I don't give
out.
Now, how many times did we hear this lady call the black woman the N-word? She said it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. She said it again. She said, "Get out of my face, you N." Now, it does stem from the colonial history, the colorist beauty standards that they have. I mean, for the longest time, name one like black Indian that you know. Now, I'm sure you've seen them and you see them all the time, but that's not the narrative that's pushed forward. Most of the times, all you see online is light skin that, light skin this, you know. And being a dark-skinned Asian is often linked to poverty. It's often linked to labor. Like, it's on something people want to be associated with in the Asian community. So it does create the idea that black people are at the bottom of the barrel. I mean, it shows up in their dating, in their jobs, in their everyday interactions. You know, it's not something that people want to be aligned with. Now, when I say certain words like Asians or black people, please bear in mind, I'm not trying to generalize and stereotype them. Exercise the exception rule. Moving forward, please exercise the exception rule. Now, I do want you guys to watch this clip.
Majority of the Asian business community is extremely exploitative and racist towards black people.
Okay, let's address this. My initial reaction to this was one of defensiveness and anger, and I'm sure many of you guys felt the same. But we should not disregard some very valid points that this creator makes. We do have a problem with anti-blackness and colorism within our community. We see that with the discord between ethnic groups within our own community, and that translates out to how some of us treat people with darker skin outside of our community as well. Obviously, it's not all of us because we're not a racial monolith, but I have seen it and I know you have seen it too. I think we tend to tense up when we hear other people calling out our community for racial prejudice. It's natural to feel defensive because the majority of us are not actively trying to hurt other people. But I think we have to understand that as human beings, we all have some sort of racial prejudice towards others. We're born into a racist society. We have had racist stereotypes hammered into us since birth. But we really need to make a good effort to listen, because if we don't listen, we can't be better for our own community and we can't be better allies. I have more to say in part 2.
Shout out to the lovely lady, May, who came up and did that video. Like, I like the fact that she didn't get all defensive, but she actually acknowledged that anti-blackness does happen in that community, which is a discussion that we all need to be having. Like, anti-blackness does exist and it's real. We don't want to bury our heads in the sand and then act like certain things are not happening while they are actually happening. Like, this whole narrative of being white is close to being pure needs to stop, and it's unfortunate that it's in so many non-black communities. Now, let's over to the second non-black community that I want to touch on with anti-blackness. That is the Latino community. Now, Latinos do come in very many skin tones, but you do see that lighter skin Latinos tend to be put out there more than the Afro-Latinos. Did you know that I didn't know Afro-Latinos existed until Love and Hip Hop, when Amara La Negra, joined the cast? And that's when I got to know that, hey, there's like an Afro-Latino person. Now, that is obviously my fault for not being as exposed as I should have, but that is also the perception of so many Africans who are not, who see media like we see what the media wants us to see on this part of the world. So for the longest time, many of us didn't even know Afro-Latinos existed. It wasn't something that was put out there. It wasn't something that was pushed. I mean, when you even look at the dolls, most of the dolls were white. I've never seen a black doll in my life. Not in this country. Not close to my nieces. Never, right? But I'm sure they do exist. I'm sure if I went on the search for them, I'm sure they'll be there. But I'm just trying to let you know that this is not something that is common, I mean, this is something that we see quite often. Parents telling their kids, do not bring a black person, do not marry a black person, do not bring a black black person into this family. We don't want our, I guess, our genes to be mixed or something like that. Like, don't spoil the lineage of the light skins. Like, you must keep it light skinned or something like that. I mean, these are conversations that people actually do have, you know. And we all know that famous comedian who was talking about how when he goes to the Dominican and someone saying, me no black, you black, me no black. Like, you literally look black, but you're telling the other person, I am not black, just because, you know, you want to be associated with a lighter version of people, lighter version of life, so that you can, you know, get, I guess, more opportunities, because sometimes being light is associated with more opportunities and beauty. So there's that. Let's watch this.
Let me just talk about the anti-blackness that exists in the Latino community, because it's a real thing. And it is only further perpetuating the division between our two communities and contributing to the overall oppression of our two communities. And I know there's going to be some people out there that's like, that's not even a thing. That's not a real issue. But it is. I grew up hearing freaking racist remarks made towards black people. And I heard it often. And I know so many other people did. And not only is it about anti-blackness, it's also about internalized racism that some Latinos, including myself when I was a child, felt the need to be white because I saw white people being treated better. And in my mind, I'm like, well, if I'm white, or if I consider myself white, or if I tell people that I'm white, then I am going to be treated better. I didn't understand as a child why I even felt that, but we are socialized as a society to want that, unless you break out of the freaking matrix and you realize, oh my gosh, we're all being oppressed by the same freaking systems. So for us to have division and for there to be anti-blackness in our community is not helping anyone. One, it's just wrong. But two, it's only further perpetuating the oppression that already exists in our freaking society. So there's that part. And then there's this whole dismissal of Afro-Latinos, because Afro-Latinos exist, yet sometimes are classified as not Latino, when in reality, they are Latinos. Afro-Latinos. And then there's this whole freaking connection to where we find ourselves in American history, okay? And the fact that many people, many Latinos, Latino men in particular, did not want to vote for a black and Asian, but a black woman, okay? And then there's the intersection of machismo, internalized racism, anti-blackness, and all of it contributing, again, to the further perpetuation of oppression of our communities. That's what I need people to understand. When there's division between our two communities, that is purposeful, okay? Because these systems, these people in power want us to be infighting, when in reality, there's a lot more that we have in common. We are also being oppressed by the same systems. We should be supporting each other. And it is because of black people and their advocacy that we, as Latinos and other communities, have the civil rights that we have today. The ability for us to even be able to have that privilege was in large due part to black people, okay? So I need us to understand that. And I need us to have a conversation about that, because even if we were brought up that way, that doesn't mean that we can't change. That doesn't mean that we can't do better, because we can. Okay? Even if society socializes us to believe that, we can change, we can do better. So if you want to have this conversation, follow for more.
I like what the gentleman said, and I believe that he couldn't have said it any better. There's so much internalized racism in these non-black communities. The whole time, we are meant to stand together. We're meant to be together, but there's a lot of division. There's a lot of racism. You know, it's just like, you're not white. Why are you trying so much to be white? Like, where is that? Where is that coming from? And I like that he acknowledged that growing up, you know, it's what they were exposed to. You know, someone could make a racist joke and it was okay. Guys, when someone makes a racist joke, can you please stop them? Can you please look at them and say, you know what, you need to stop? Like, call them out. Do not just be so accepting and so forgiving of everything that happens to you. Now, quote me if I'm wrong, but Islam does teach us that we're all equal in the eyes of Allah, right? Please, again, once I say, quote me if I'm wrong. But all beliefs, colonialism and slavery are still, you know, influences people on how they act and think today in the Arab communities. We have a whole country in Africa that doesn't want to associate itself with Africa. It starts with an M. I don't want to say what country that is. They will literally let you know that they're not Africans or they're not black, but you are on the African continent. So look at where you are. I mean, if if they had put the country elsewhere, then it would make more sense. But that whole country doesn't want to accept that it's black or that it's African. We have other countries in the Horn, I won't go into details, that also do not want to accept that they're black. They say, oh, we're not Africans, we're not black. But it's just like, what continent are you on? What does the continent say? What's the name of the continent that you're on? African. So what does that make you? African. There are also certain words like, sorry, I have to read it, abed, which means slave. Words like that are being pushed out there that kind of push this whole narrative of black people are not beautiful or black people shouldn't be deserving of good things in life, and it's unfortunate that black people end up being maids to most people in the Arab community, and then they end up getting treated in a horrible way. Once again, this is not to say that every Arab is like that. Please exercise the rule of exception in everything that you hear me talk about on my platform. But yeah, let's see this clip.
In Egypt, I mean, I've explored it. If I tell you, like, my own teachers have said some of the most racist stuff, like anti-black stuff I've heard in my life. Like, I'll just give you an example. I was sitting in an Azhar class, and the teacher said, Ya shabab, la tazawwaju min Afrika. Do not get married from Africa. I was like, huh? Okay.
Oh, wow.
He said because if you marry an African lady, this is the most offensive, I'm not going to swear, the most offensive stuff I've heard in my life, yeah? He said, because when you get married from Africa and your African lady, her hair is so coarse and harsh, if she sleeps on your chest, her chest will cut you at nighttime. And this is a class, this is a class in front of 30, 40 black kids. And some people might say something. We didn't say it. I was so in shock. I was like, huh? And she goes, afdal lakum, it's better for you to get married from Turkey because the hair is beautiful and nice.
Oh my goodness.
Do you see? And this is Azhar.
That's jaw dropping.
This is in Azhar,
Oh, wow.
I've heard, and or in a similar class as well, different teacher said, ha'ula fi Afrika ya'kuluna qirda. Those in people in Africa that eat monkeys.
Oh,
or you hear things like, I remember my teacher said to me, for example, something like the anti-blackness is so it permeates so much that I don't even think they're intentional in what they're saying. They don't even know what they don't even know why it's offensive.
Friends, did you all just hear that? I mean, statements like her hair is so coarse. I mean, black queens have like 4C hair, 4B, 4A, all types of hair. Saying her hair will be so coarse that it will cut you in your chest. Excuse me, what? And this is in an African country, but it's like an Arab community. Like, the anti-blackness just seeps through some people, when they're doing certain things. What? To even make a statement like people in Africa eat monkeys. I mean, there's a live that I was on and people started sending us monkey emojis or gorilla emojis. Like, let's not even get into that. But yeah, guys, that's it. But let's also talk about anti-blackness in other black communities. I know I've talked about anti-blackness in non-black communities, but let's talk about anti-blackness in black communities, but like communities like immigrants and other Africans, where people might laugh at a racist joke or because they want to fit in. We see girls trying to buy some bleaching cream because, again, they're trying to fit in because they associate being light to being liked. Being light to being liked, being light to having more opportunities, being light to being more beautiful. So it's instances like that where you see the anti-blackness sort of seep through people. People can make such an arrogant statement like, I don't want to marry a black man because my kids will be black. I want a white man because my kids are going to be mixed. Are you fine? Like, statements like that seep through people, and it's just like, oh, I actually didn't expect to hear this from my own people. Now, hearing it from other people, maybe, but when you hear it from a fellow black person, it gets your mind thinking like, how can that sort of thinking be up and about in this day and age. You know, things like when immigrant parents tell their kids, don't play with the black kids, avoid the black kids. If you want to avoid trouble, you need to avoid the black kids. And then you're just thinking like, what is that bringing? You're just creating division in the kids. They're going to grow up thinking there's something wrong with these kids, yet there's nothing wrong, and they can make their own decisions and tell what is right from wrong. But guys, that's just about it. Let me know what you think about anti-blackness in non-black communities and black communities at that. I would like to hear your opinion in the comment section. We've come to the end of this episode. If you watched till the end, drop a 1. You know the drill. And yeah, I appreciate you so much. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, comment, share. Check out my website, janitamaaya.com. You get all my details in case you want a consultation or anything else. And I'll see you next time. Bye.